Paranormal Evidence.
Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices
Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Chris.
I'm Audra.
We're not on air.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, I had some other screen over it. Sorry, I'm Tony.
And you're on air.
I don't know where I am.
I'm on air. I don't know where I am.
And I'm Ron, and I don't think Tony's on just air. He might be on something else.
And can you share, Tony?
No kidding. Spread the wealth, brother.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were putting titles after our shit now, and I don't know what to put.
No.
Yeah, well, that's because you have the best title next to Christoph Allgod. You have Audra Keeler.
Very valid point.
Ooh,
We have just ourselves, and we listen to static, and we don't know where we are.
So true.
That's great.
That was awesome.
LT6.
now have
What's up?
two
There he is.
Anthonys. There he is.
How you doing?
Say it, Chris.
We now have two Anthonys that don't know where they're at.
Say it, Chris.
I had a screen cover this screen
doing?
absolutely perfectly, and it was just the Unex logo. And so I heard you talking. I'm like, wait a minute, well, where are the pictures? But it was only because it covered it perfectly and in center that I didn't realize it was behind it.
That's awesome.
Would have been better if you'd have said, I don't know where I am. That would have been so much better.
Yes, Melissa, it is definitely that
I
M word.
should have thought about that. Yeah.
I am
Everett,
Spirit.
sweet save there, Ron. Yeah. I had to do something.
That's why we support each other so well.
Yeah. Yes.
Tony,
So,
Tony, tell us what you guys did this weekend, last weekend.
Well, let's see. I did some editing on a documentary. Saturday night, we did a live digital seance initiative with Statcom.
West Side.
And, I was a little concerned at first because I didn't think we were getting the responses, but part of it was because we asked one of the audience members to write a word on a piece of paper. And then it was put into the back of the room. So no one in the audience could see it. None of us could see it. We didn't know what the word was. And I asked more than half the night for them to tell me what was written on the paper. Well, guess what? They did tell me like
16 times.
8 or more times. But it was such a strange word that nobody caught it. And we didn't know what we were even listening for. So that made it a little tricky. But when I replayed all of the video that Cherie shot for me, it was there over and over every time I asked. And one of them so loud and so clear, I don't even know how we missed it. But that made me feel a lot better.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I saw that. For everybody watching, the word was Peebles. Capital P-E-E-B-L-E-S.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is more than likely a name, I would assume.
It's a last name.
So nobody
Definitely.
knows what the hell is Peebles.
Right.
Well,
It was that one.
I heard Roger say at one point, he goes, I think I heard people. And she's like, no. Well, what he heard was Peebles, but it was there.
So cool.
What were you going to say, Ron?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, that word was clearly to me given to get something that was not easily heard mistakenly. Like there's
Right.
not a lot of words that sound like that. Not like people could, but there's probably fewer words that sound like people's. So it was probably meant for that. And when we talked about this with Tony, that was the reason why, instead of just going out and doing direct radio voice sittings, that I wanted to do a digital seance, because I wanted the focus and the attentiveness that a seance had, like when everybody's sitting around with their hands on the table and listening, because I realized how many things you can miss. So
Right.
this is a prime case of that, where I think even if for some of the time the person who wrote the word down for Tony was not listening for it, and so it snuck by several times, and they didn't even hear their own words. So that's something that we learned the hard way as the operator, because your experiment looks like it maybe not doing what you're hoping it would do when you had already succeeded several times
Right.
you asked for. And it's
Well,
just
I remember even saying that. Yeah, I remember even saying that during the presentation. I'm like, okay, come on, you've done this for me multiple times. Tell me the word. That they were saying it over and over and over.
Yeah, what's funny is anybody that's seen the clip that Tony posted on Facebook, Tony points out like 6 times in the video clip where it says it. But if you pay really close attention, it says it probably twice that much. I watched the clip and I'm like, holy Christ.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed there's one right at the end that I didn't annotate.
Yeah.
That as clear as can be. So it worked. The process, the system, the method worked.
Communication works, y'all. You got to pay attention. You got to let people know what the hell you're listening for. That tends to help.
Yeah.
Ron, what'd you guys do?
We have a little bit of a tie-in to that. Friday night, not too much. Sunday, if you saw my Facebook Live, I went and see my dad play with his band again.
That was awesome.
Saturday, we ran Staticom here for a little while, and then we wanted to run it when Tony and Sheree were doing their event to see if we got any data that correlated. So I haven't gone over everything yet, but I can tell you, I had sent you guys a clip that first we had major technical problems in the beginning of it, what I think came from an update to one of the components. So I had to do a whole thing and restart and reinstall and get everything back online. Then it sounded good. Then I asked what happened, and the vocal response immediately described what happened, like what my problem was audibly. Completely described it.
Yep.
When we got online, one of the first things I asked was, because they were doing a digital seance, I said, we asked a bunch of specific things. How many attendees did they have at the event? And we got the exact number, because when I asked Tony, I said, how many people were there? And he told me. And I went,
He
really?
nailed it.
Wow.
Exactly the amount of people they had in attendance is what we got as an answer. And we can timestamp that to show that we were not tipped off on it whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
awesome.
That
That's
is
awesome.
fantastic.
The exact amount of people. So, and I knew that Tony and Sheree would be successful with the event. What happened with the word written down and how many times it escaped everybody's attention is not flaw of the operator or the method or what they were trying to execute as an experiment. It's a lesson in how so many times people will look at the stuff we do and go, well, why doesn't it always work? Well, because sometimes the problem with the experiment is us.
Right.
I don't even necessarily think, and we've done this before, when somebody writes something down that they're the only one who knows the word is necessarily a good idea for that reason.
I know that now.
And not if everybody in the room or a majority or 50% of something hears the word, you can't, you don't, there's no power suggestion at this with synchronicity with everybody hearing the same word at the same moment. I don't know. I mean, there's something to be said for nobody knowing it, but
yeah, I agree.
I agree 100%.
I think when we do these things, you have to look at everything has two sides. Like when people say, when there's an argument, there's two sides of every story. When you do something to vet or authenticate the process and you put a protocol in place, you have to look ahead at any possible pitfalls or any flaws in process you might be creating by trying to fix another one.
Agreed. Completely agreed. I just was expecting, I guess, a more not a last name that is very uncommon, or at least sounds uncommon to me. And I think that, because like you said, we didn't know what we were listening for.
Right.
Right.
So it would have been more of a profound moment if the audience would have known what they were listening for. And I think that's the point.
Or at least 2 or 3 people. So when that lack of attention went away, because we had the camera where we could see the people that wrote it, and there's one really loud one that came through, and I can see them, having a conversation of their own, and I'm thinking, okay, because no one else knew what the word was.
Yeah, say something, y'all.
Yeah.
So,
well, y'all, we didn't do shit. We connected with the spirits of ourselves this weekend and didn't do shit.
Nothing wrong with that.
no, those are the best ones.
That's how you ground right there. Is I connected with the spirit of my grass. And every time I cut the grass out here, I get an infection for some reason in my leg. But so apparently, Chris doesn't have grass in North Carolina. Yeah, Chris has got some medical conditions that cause a bunch of crap, and I get infections super easy, so it's not a big deal.
Yes, it is.
We keep an overstock of antibiotics. So. It's all right.
Yeah.
God's gonna take me when He wants to, but I'm gonna fight until the last minute. So
I believe that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I wrote something for Ron.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
We wrote something for Ron too this week.
So book 4 is in the works. The forward is going to be done by Johnny Zaffis, which is a huge honor.
Yes. Love Johnny.
And I also wanted, because it's called The Paranormalization Memoirs of an Academic Layperson, and I wanted the people that I'm closest with and work with regularly to have their story, their paranormalization told. So there's a chapter called The Voices of Entity Voices. And so Chris and Audra submitted something to me. Tony wrote something on behalf of him and Cherie. I'm just waiting for Lourdes.
Lourdes.
Poor Lord.
And then it's done. But that was important to me because these are the people for whom I'm working closely with. These are the family that I've acquired from doing this. And so, my platform is their platform. And so until you suckers start writing your own books, you're going to have to keep showing up in mine.
We appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. It's going to take me a while because I don't even like to read them. So
let alone write.
write them. So.
I was that way when I was in school, when it counted,
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, it's exciting. I feel like this is going to be the best of the 4 books when it comes out. I get heavy into the philosophical stuff of this now because so much, you guys hear me preach, so much of this stuff is continuity of thought. You can't say something is this and then in the next context it's not that anymore because it's not convenient. We have to start looking at the things that are important. Data aggregation is fantastic, but if you just spend an hour with each of the people that I'm looking at on screen now, there's plenty of that. So I don't think we're at a shortage of being able to show there's something to all this. Now it's in the framing and presentation of it, and we need to influence an ideology or shift the paradigm. It's a lot of it is philosophical and how it's presented and how it's framed, and I think that's as important now as data aggregation. Because look at Bocce and Bella and Sinkowski and Jurgensen and Roddy. Look what they did. And then still flash forward, there's people sitting in front of a TV somewhere with their belly hanging out, watching some ghost show going, this stuff ain't real. I mean, it's not.
Right.
It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not.
Yeah, but praise the Holy Spirit, right? We don't believe in ghosts. I have nothing against religion. I believe in God and Jesus, so everybody knows. I am one of the most faithful people you've ever met in your life. I just don't agree with the people that go to church and don't think ghosts exist.
All right.
We will move forward.
Yep.
Yes. My understanding is this show has something to do with this alleged house, Montgomery, that supposedly has activity.
Supposedly.
I don't know if it's true, but let's go with it.
So y'all, this is an awesome opportunity for me and Audra. This house came upon us, and I mean most of you have heard the story. We found it driving down the road one day, got this gut feeling, did the research, discovered the group that controlled the house, which is Montgomery County Historical Society. It's the Montgomery House, was built in 1830. I've told you guys the history before. I won't go into it because I don't want our guests to wait too long now. But the group that we have is a fantastic group of people. These are what Audra and I consider close friends. Someday Ron and Lourdes will get to meet them. Tony and Sheree, when you guys get out here later this year, you'll get to meet the PPIT team. Fantastic people. This is the true grit of what North Carolina is built on, is the way these people are. They 100% support Para-Unity. They support everything that we do as EVP. They watch our show every week. I mean, truly fantastic people that we like to call friends.
And we've gone camping with
And we've gone camping with Scott and Heather. We've done multiple investigations with Scott, Eric and Zach that you guys will get to meet. You guys have met Scott and Zach before. It's Piedmont Paranormal Investigation Team. They're back with their evidence that they caught at an investigation at the Montgomery House. Guys, this is a diamond in the rough. This is a house out in the middle of nowhere that nobody thought or even considered that might be haunted. And we were lucky enough to stumble upon it and get the opportunity to control the investigations at it. And this is a team that has been there multiple times. And guys, I got to tell you, PPIT has supported the Montgomery House multiple times with their investigations. And they've also added to their website any new investigators that want to learn how to do investigations and want to go on an investigation with PPIT. Their team has specifically, has specifically named the Montgomery House as their go-to location to help not only the Montgomery County Historical Society, but to help new investigators learn how to investigate properly and respect the spirits that maintain the residence that they've been in for so long and what we've shown you guys. So guys, this is going to be a month of Montgomery House because this is really a location that is just phenomenal. That's been sitting out in the woods that nobody knew was there except the Historical Society, and they love the house, but we love the spirits in it.
Yep. So
you guys have met Scott. You guys have met Zach on previous shows. Tonight, we get to introduce you to Scott's wife, Heather. God bless her heart. This lady puts up with a ton of shit from the team, ton of shit from Scott, ton of shit from us. And she gives that shit right back. So I love Heather. And then we got Eric coming in. Eric is their tech guy. Eric that manages their website. And Eric is a U.S. Army veteran, guys. You know how I respect that. So let's welcome the team in. Here is Heather, Scott, and Zach. And here is Eric. What are you guys laughing at?
Everett's comment.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see
Everett's
it.
funny. Everett's funny, man.
Where's the Everett kicks ass? All right, guys. Say hello.
Hello, guys.
Hey,
that means PPIT.
You
PPIT,
guys,
say hello.
Hey, we're glad to have you guys on the show tonight, and I hope when you guys are out there teaching and explaining and doing what you do, I hope that included in what you pass on to people is your code of conduct and how to actually be a successful member of the community and to ensure other people are successful members of the same community, because what you're doing is admirable in that area and probably an underdeveloped skill in a lot of cases. So
yeah, absolutely. You can't hear? Okay.
I can't hear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay. I can't hear. He's got to fix something.
All right. Anyways, no, we pass on our code of ethics because that's the number one thing with our team is ethics and ethical investigation. If we get people in that want to go to Montgomery House and investigate with us, that's going to be lesson number one, for sure. And I'm glad to have a team that every single member believes in those ethics. So.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. The other really cool thing about this is that everyone on here has been in the house, investigated it, which will really add additional additional input into what you guys are going to show tonight, having all 6 of us have been there just, 3-4 weeks ago?
3 weeks, yeah.
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 Yeah,
So
it's
very
a fantastic location. So it's worth repeating. A round of applause for Chris and Audra for bringing that house to the community. People outside of Montgomery County in the paranormal probably never heard of the place before. Now it's on podcasts repeatedly, and teams like Piedmont and EVPE are going in there, and we're making it more known, and hopefully the support continues to grow. But you two down there, Mr. Stay Haunted Hat and Alice in Wonderland, you two gave that to the community, and now look at where that's gone. So I think that's applause worthy. That's very cool.
Thank you.
We completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do it without teams like PPIT coming in and helping us promote it and get it out there too. So
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
between knowing what they do and seeing some of their evidence before, and knowing what that house has already shown us, I was not going to miss this show for nothing. Even if I wasn't on the show, I would watch it somewhere because this is such a cool spot, and they've gotten great stuff there before.
I have. I can't wait to see
We've
what
got
they
some
have.
really cool evidence. Eric, you with us?
Oh yeah.
Say hi to everybody, Eric.
Hello, everybody.
So everybody watching, you saw me a few weeks back doing a promo show with Rebecca Jackson. Eric is Rebecca's husband. So this is not the first time you've seen the darkness behind him, because that house has actually been on shows before on podcasts. So this is a really solid, great team, guys. And Heather, I would introduce you as and have you tell us how you got into the paranormal, but Scott's already done all that, so you don't have shit to say.
So I had a little bit before Scott, okay?
Give it to us.
Because I had a life before Scott, I'm just saying.
No.
But so growing up in a rural town, I had a best friend that they lived on a farm, and it's an old farm. So anybody that would stay the night, the grandmother would come and visit. And so I had my first episode, I guess is what you want to call it, when I was probably 8. And my friend's grandmother was at the end of the bed at like 3 a.m. And I was just like, and then I just waved and went back to sleep and didn't freak out. But
Wow.
as I got older, I'm a nurse now. I've been a nurse 29 years. And while I was in nursing school, I was a CNA at a local nursing home, night shift. So you see a lot of crazy stuff in the middle of the night in a nursing home.
And not just the patients.
Yeah, well, not just that, but I mean, you hear, their patients' beds pushed together and they can't even get out of bed, and you hear your name called, and you hear nurses or see nurses like coming in and out of rooms, and I mean, but for that, it never scared me. Like, I was intrigued. I wasn't scared. I was intrigued by it. So then I met this guy, and so he didn't realize as much as I had been through, and watching Ghost Hunters and seeing stuff that we saw at St. Augustine Lighthouse and Waverly Hills, and I just knew that this is what we had to do. Like, I needed to do this for some reason. So, and have enjoyed it every minute since then.
There you go. That is the voice of passion right there. That's what it sounds like, people.
Well, and I got to tell you, doing investigations with PPIT, with Heather being a behavioral health nurse, it helps deal with the dynamics of the team and all the people involved.
Yeah,
I
some
see
of us are
crazy.
children.
I see a lot of crazy.
That's right. And then she goes to work.
Very true. I always say that at work. It's like, oh, I see a lot of crazy, and then there's the staff. I mean, the staff are worse than patients. I'm just saying.
I can believe it.
And then you
All right.
have me, and there's never a dull moment.
No,
No,
there's never a dull
never,
moment with
Eric.
Eric, y'all.
Wow.
Never a dull moment with Eric. So, Eric, why don't you tell our viewers what got you involved in the paranormal?
Well, I've always been fascinated with the beyond. What happens after we, shed our mortal bodies and go to whatever place lies beyond this. But my first actual encounter with a spirit was in my grandmother's house, which I cherished because at that time my parents were going through a divorce and my grandmother was the only one that was on my side. That's why I loved going to her house, because anytime my mom would yell at me, my grandma would go, "Stop yelling at him," and I'd walk away smirking. But me and my sister were sleeping in opposite rooms, and I got up to use the bathroom one night, and my sister was standing in front of the bathroom mirror with this look of shock on her face. And I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "There's an Indian chief standing behind me, and he's in a full headdress." And I look in the mirror, and I look back behind her, and I look in the shower curtain. I look everywhere in the bathroom. I can't find this thing. But she was just as pale as a ghost could be. So the next night, my grandmother had these plastic runners on the floor that would, you could hear people walking on. She said my grandfather, who had passed, kept a nightly routine. He'd come in from work. He'd have a cup of coffee. He'd set the coffee cup down on the table, and then he'd walk across the floor and come upstairs. I heard all that. And then I saw a shadow go past my room and into my grandmother's room. And then shortly after that, I heard the toilet flush. And it's weird. It's weird now because they moved my grandmother from Ohio down into the house that I'm currently in. And then she passed away. And every night the toilet will go off at the same time. We have motion sensor lights inside the house, like little night lights. They'll go off. And we've actually communicated with her on several different occasions.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
So I was hooked ever since I was little.
Interesting.
Amazing how everybody comes together eventually.
It does. It's amazing to see how many different people have those experiences as children that ends up following them instead of the fantastic thing is in the paranormal community is you've like I've got individuals at work that I talk about our show and I talk about the investigations that we do and they're like, no way. I had an experience once and it ain't happening again. And then where you get your paranormal investigators is people like Eric, people like Heather, where they go, wait a minute, I want to know more. And that's fantastic because that's what keeps the paranormal community moving forward is getting more people out there, doing more stuff, doing more research, collecting more data, and finding better ways to do it like Tony and Ron do, where we can communicate better and prove to those skeptics out there that, you know what, just because you don't think it exists, we've got evidence proving that you do, that it does. And guys, PPIT has provided some really great evidence tonight
To prove.
from the Montgomery house to prove.
Well, and real quick, Chris, too, the more we can do shows like this, we can show people that, not all spirits are what you see on TV, where you see somebody get shoved down a hallway or pushed down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just stuck there because they haven't figured out how to cross over. And when you have people like my wife and other mediums and people like that can help, and like Zach did, cross spirits over, that's all they really want. They don't want to stand around and do harm. They just want to go. They just want to go to their final resting place. So I'm glad I'm glad every day that I'm with a really good group of people.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you are.
That's one of the reasons why when Eric approached me about joining the team, I immediately knew he had a passion for this, and so I'm glad that he found us, we found him, and he's essentially let us go finding his wife Becca as well. They have been very important parts of our team.
And great people, y'all. Very great people.
Yeah.
Very great people. So we got a lot of evidence to go through, guys. So we want to get rolling.
Jump in.
You guys.
Jump in.
You guys thought the Montgomery house was just a house on the side of the road?
Yeah. What did they tell us? Well, there was nothing bad or scary that ever happened there.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, when we told them we want to investigate it, they said, well, it's not like anybody got murdered in the house or anything. I went, that you know of.
Yeah.
That's better than answering and saying yet.
Yet. It's only 2023, y'all. So we're gonna, only. Didn't that make the rest of us feel old?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I blipped out for a minute too. If it happens, just keep trucking. I'll come back in. I don't know, for whatever reason. Like I said, sometimes during the show it'll just do that. And I think Lourdes wants to wait until we have at least 52 of these instances before she calls Verizon to make sure everything's. You want to rush into troubleshooting stuff, you know what I'm saying?
51 to 52, somewhere in there. All right, guys. So this one we're going to start with. There's a video clip that Scott caught. This is the main hallway, or Scott's team caught. This is the main hallway of the Montgomery house. This is from the front door. Those of you who haven't seen the pictures, it's a shotgun style house. If you get your standard front door, old shotgun style house, you'd have 4 rooms on the first floor, 4 rooms on the second floor, with a main foyer
Really
hallway.
Wide hallway.
Really wide hallway on both floors. So the second floor is almost identical to the first floor. Well, minus the interior decorations done back then. But so this one was caught on the first floor with a camera that was from the front door facing towards the back door, which would have been the entrance from the kitchen back then. So for all of you that don't know, in the 1800s, before fireproofing, they never cooked inside the house. The kitchen was always an exterior building. It was always away from the main house. Always had a dirt floor. So because they always use open fire. Okay. So there was never a kitchen in the Montgomery house. There was a food prep area, but the back door that you'll see in this video is the door that led out to the kitchen, which was a building that was probably 50 to 60 feet behind the main house. That way, if it ever caught fire and burnt down, they could just build a new kitchen and not a new house. So this video is caught, and we're going to show you a video, and then we're going to show you a still shot of this one to catch this light anomaly. Now, a lot of people are going to go, hey, it's dust. We'll show you the picture of the light anomaly. This one's just a little bit different than normal dust pictures. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to play that again. So if you look at the main stairs go up like this. There's a landing, and then there's a set of stairs that go up to the second floor. If you look up towards where the landing goes up towards the second floor, you'll see it. Now, there's something significant I want to point out about this, guys, and Ron and Tony and Audra and the PPIT team can tell you guys, none of the windows open. There's only one door that opens in the house. It's in the back corner of the house. So there's no flipping wind in this house. So in August, when it's 92 degrees outside with 70% humidity, it's 102 degrees in the house with 80% humidity, and there's no wind. There's no airflow. There's no cooling effect. There's nothing going on. So blowing dust is not a common thing. So let me go ahead and show that video again. All right, so now I'm going to show you a still shot.
Across.
Now, if you look up towards the second stair, see the little light anomaly caught there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was moving so fast. That's about the best still shot I could get out of it. So.
Not to mention, if it was a car driving by, you would hear it.
Yeah. Because you all know the road noise at that place is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. That's not a car light.
No, that's not a car light. It would have reflected differently. It would have shined up the surface.
It's too centrally located to be a car light. Car light would have spread across the entire staircase there.
Right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, and the only window, so that doorway you see to the left, everybody that's watching, there's only one window there, and it's surrounded by trees on the exterior. So the only windows that technically get light are towards the front of the house, which this is towards the back of the house.
Yep.
So this doesn't even get a light exposure coming from the exterior of the house.
Not at all.
No.
No. No. There's no one in this room.
So I have a question about the camera being used. It's either in night vision or shooting in black and white. Which one was it?
There's a night vision camera.
Okay. Can you play the full clip again, Chris?
And the video?
Yeah.
Here we go. We can talk during this video because there's no sound. Here we go.
It is fast.
It's fast.
Yeah. And it appears and then just disappears.
Yeah.
So
we can play that again. It's within the first 10 seconds. When you hit the 10-second mark, it's already passed. Let's play it one more time. And y'all, this is the South. Bugs don't fly that fast. Here we go. Nothing moves that fast in the South. Here we go.
Well, and there's no like jerky motion either.
No.
It's a nice, smooth kind of like a transition, not a.
You know what, Scott? Some of the probably the best still shots you could have gotten in that are at the beginning.
yeah.
It actually had a separate shape to it prior to that one that you caught.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah,
not definitely not a reflective photo.
But that's good. That's good work, though. The fact that he pointed that out, that Everett said that, because that's a possibility that will be raised by someone, especially if they weren't there and they don't know the house. So the fact that he had that explanation at the ready is another thing that speaks to the quality of the team involved in the capture. My opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything we come up with, we discuss as a team to vet. Everett and I, we watched that thing several times, and we're like, I don't know where else it could come from. Yeah. So.
And it doesn't span the whole screen either. It doesn't start off frame one side and go all across and go out of frame on the other side. It literally just appears at one point and goes part of the way and then it's gone again.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
So our next piece, guys, and you guys know how I love still photos.
Yes.
So this next one I'm going to show you is a comparison photo. And the reason I'm showing this first is because I want you to see what the room is oriented like. So this room that is in this picture is the courtroom, is what used to be the courtroom. So there was a point in time where the Montgomery County Courthouse burnt down. So they actually used Dr. Montgomery's house as the courtroom for numerous years. There's been rumors, there's no documented, so I'm not going to say there's documented. There's no documented hangings, but there is rumor that some people were tried in this room, sentenced to death, and might have met a rope in a tree in the backyard somewhere. But it's not documented because they didn't document stuff like that back then. But this is the room that they use as the courtroom for probably, they don't know exactly how long, but it was approximately 2 to 8 years. So it's a big span. Now you can imagine back then, Montgomery County was inducted. It was the first county inducted. So North Carolina was the 12th state, y'all. And it was inducted into as a county. Montgomery County was in 1779. So 3 years after the Declaration of Independence was signed, right? This courtroom, Montgomery County alone, is the largest county right now currently in North Carolina. But back then, it encompassed a total of 6 counties. So just to give you an idea how big this county is, it was huge back then. And this was the only courthouse where they tried, convicted, and sentenced people for somewhere between 2 to 8 years. So this is currently set up as a dining room, but back then it would have been a courtroom. So somewhere along here, the judge would have sat in front of the fireplace. There would have been chairs set up. I want you to pay really close attention to the corner cabinet. So none of the furniture that's in the Montgomery house is original because it was brought in by the Montgomery County Historical Society. They were going to use the Montgomery house as their museum, but then they realized the expense of this is an 1830s house, guys. It's still on the original foundation, still has the 6x8 floors, still has the 6x8 walls. There's no insulation in it. By the time they realized, so you see some drywall in the pictures. They tried to climatize it, but then when they realized what the expense would be, they changed their location to a place up in Troy, North Carolina. So the furniture in this house is stuff that doesn't need to be climatized, and they just set it up to give you a concept of what a house might look like back in the 1830s. This was actually the courtroom. I don't know if at any time it was a dining room, but that's the way they've got it set up now. So if you look in the corner, you see that corner cabinet? That's not original to the house. The mirror is not original to the house. The fireplace and the mantle are. Okay, so this is a comparison photo. This was caught by the PPIT team. Matter of fact, it was caught by Zach's dad, Mike, right, Zach?
No,
Yes.
this one.
Not this one.
This is my picture, Heather, but
Okay,
the next picture is Mike's.
so this next picture, y'all see the person standing there?
Yeah.
So let me see. So what's funny is PPIT shared this with me and said, check this photo out. And I sent it to Ron, and Ron double negative it. He backwards exposed it. Check that out. Guys, the only person standing in this room was Zach's father, Mike.
And that's not him.
No, that's not him. He's behind the camera.
Mike's a little bit taller than that. So.
Yeah, just a tad. Just a tad. So I
Wow,
actually
That's phenomenal.
That's
yeah,
a great shot.
the Montgomery County Historical Society is trying to validate 2 of Dr. Montgomery's sons died in the Civil War. If you look really close, this picture looks, and let me actually see if I can pull it up so I can zoom for you guys. This is a great capture. This is the type of
I love
evidence
this
PPIT
picture.
produces every time. So let me...
Now, Eric, you and your team were upstairs when this was taken, right?
Yes.
It ended up being like me, Everett, and Mike together, and everybody else upstairs together. For some reason, that's how it always ends up. Is Everett, Mike, and I, or Mark, as Everett always called him, Mark.
So if you guys look really close, you can see through his neck.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was. Montgomery House never disappoints.
No.
I'm almost seeing it as like a. I mean, I don't know if this is how it's originally seen, almost like the back of a woman facing the cabinet.
Ooh.
Right.
Somebody facing the corner cabinet, looking. At
Yes.
Yeah, like there's something in the cabinet.
Yep. Of course, that's the same room as when Mike and I were sitting in there talking, like I saw something like crawling under the table. And at that point, I think Mike started snapping pictures. And that's probably pretty much where we were at that moment, because I just kept saying something's not right in this room. And he just snapped pictures, and this is what he found, which is amazing.
So guys, I want to point something out here that makes this even more incredible. If I can get the damn other picture to open up.
That's incredible.
Oh, that's a good one.
So this is the picture before the double exposure where Ron turned it into the actual negative. So this, if you look really close, the sun hasn't gone down yet.
Right.
So I've said numerous times, if a location has spirits, it doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Right.
This was caught. So about this when you guys did this investigation, it was back in, was it May or
March 25th.
March 25th. So sundown would have been about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Give or take.
Give or take, yeah.
It was pretty close to when we first started. I mean, this wasn't 3 hours in. This was
Right
one
at the beginning.
The same has been said about Chris.
Large sack. Hey, you opened the door on that one.
I did.
And the older I get, the lower it hangs. So I just got the look. Did y'all see the look? I got the look. But this is what's fascinating about this, guys, is if you look, the distortion, and there's no distortion in the chairs. There's light coming in. You can see the light shining onto the chairs.
Right.
You can see the light actually coming on the face of the mantle here. But whatever is standing here is not reflecting light,
Right.
which tells me that it's not a solid surface.
Yeah. Good
I would agree.
observation. Yeah, it's passing right through it.
Yep. You see the light on the teapot here. You see light on the candle. You see light on the chairs. You see the light reflecting onto the mantle of the fireplace. But this, which is certainly looks like it's standing in front of where the light should hit, is not reflecting light.
Or
Which tells you
blocking it.
Or blocking it. So it's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see the light here shining onto the wall behind it. So light is passing through whatever's standing here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility that the light and the presence of the light is actually what gave the manifestation visibility also.
Yeah, very, very possible. Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
But what's even more intriguing, if you guys look really close. Hey guys, in about 7 minutes, UNX is going to switch over to the new audio program, but we've got a ton of evidence. We're going to go later than we probably should tonight, but that's the way we do things. So stick around on YouTube and Facebook to finish seeing what PPIT has to show from the Montgomery house. So in this picture, you see this right here? You know what that is, y'all?
A bucket?
No, not my bucket. No, this was PPIT's investigation. My buckets weren't in the house at this time. That is glass in that corner cabinet. And what you're seeing is, if you look really close right here, see that reflection right there? That's the Christmas tree that is still sitting on top of that table.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is a reflection.
I forgot that it was still
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, this is a reflection of what's
The
behind.
window,
Yeah.
the front window.
Now I really want to point something out here. Do you see a reflection of what's standing here?
No.
Not a thing.
But you can see that flipping Christmas tree that's been sitting there since December.
It's been sitting there for 3 years.
Yeah.
We were there before.
I just wanted to point that out. There's no reflection here. So it's not casting reflection, but it's also blocking any reflection on these pieces of glass right here. So that's really interesting too.
That's what it was. We confused the spirit of Saint Nick, and he thought it was Christmas time.
That's right. He had just come down the chimney, damn it.
Now I get it.
Now it makes sense.
Now it makes total sense. I got some bones to pick with that fat fucker. He never brought me shit that I wanted when I was a kid.
That's why he came back.
That's right. Hey, Chris is here. I owe him some shit.
He must have been there to compare beards with Everett.
That's right.
I think Santa loses that one.
Yes, he does.
It's possible.
All right, guys. So, Scott, tell us about Watch Your Step. What's our next EVP we got?
Okay, so actually, Zach, I'll let you do the calls. I wasn't in the room for that one.
Which one is it?
But watch your step.
So this was towards the end of the investigation. Eric, Dad, and myself were in the room with the organ. We caught, I believe, what was saying to be a guy from Chicago. who was a little bit of a prick. So we were kind of having fun with that.
And I've got to plug our laptop in real quick before it dies. So I'll be right back.
All right, here we go. Watch your step.
That was short but clear.
Short and quick.
Yeah. Okay, I'll watch it again. Why not? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Agree.
Here we go.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Very clear.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's amazing about that clip, guys, is that is what we refer to as the Civil War room. So there's a gentleman with the Montgomery County Historical Society that he set up that room. It's all Civil War stuff on the wall, right? And there's a little model that some of the elementary school kids made of the Montgomery house on the table in the middle. And there's there's a couple organs in the room. And there's a spot in the floor, which is interesting, which makes this one highly intelligent and relevant, is there's a spot in the floor that's really weak, where I always tell everybody at the beginning of the investigation, try not to step here. This spot's weak. I'd hate to see somebody fall through. Mm-hmm. Well, apparently the spirits wanted to make sure you guys didn't step in that spot either.
That's the James Patterson room, right?
No, the one below it.
Oh, this is the one below it. Okay, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it's just you, Eric. They said screw it and left.
Well, what was interesting was, and Becca had pointed it out. Yes, I did get warned a couple times because I decided to play with the organ that was in there. And
that didn't sound right at all.
Well, the piano that was in there.
You're a pianist.
And, the spirit that was in the room did not appreciate that.
No.
Wow.
That's interesting. That's an unforeseen trigger sometimes, right?
Yes. So what's even more interesting is that's a new piece that they've put in within the last year.
Yeah. That
we didn't get a whole lot of activity in that room until they brought that new electronic organ. That didn't sound right either.
I'm not saying words.
You can buy those.
You can buy those now. Special stores.
That's why I wasn't saying anything.
So this is an old church organ. How's that? Is that better? Mm-hmm. Unless you're Catholic, that doesn't sound good either.
Okay.
But
then it's a bingo hall.
It's a bingo hall. But this is an old church organ that they've brought in there, and you can tell that it's not that old because most of the stuff in the room is collected dust, right? This one's not as covered as the rest of them, and we've actually gotten activity in that room since they brought it in. It's like something was attached to it. It's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. What did that say?
Got to be careful flinging the keys or something.
Careful which ivory tickling. Yeah,
it's endless. Yeah, that's a good vocal though, because it has tonality to it.
Yeah.
Nobody responded or reacted to it.
Right. Yeah, that was a great EVP.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, Scott, Heather, and Zach, apparently his laptop was dying, and they're trying to hook back up now. So we'll bring them back in as soon as they come back in. But in the essence of time, we will go to the next one. The next one's Get Out. Do you know anything about this one, Eric?
That may have been one of the ones that was captured when I was in the room, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll know it more as I see it.
Okay. So here we go.
I think
that one in.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the one where me and Zach was in the room with the electronic organ.
Oh, which would make sense. It actually adds to what we just talked about. So there they are.
Yeah.
Welcome back, y'all.
Sorry, our generator died.
I don't think
So for everybody watching, Scott, Heather, and Zach are sitting in Scott's Class A RV, and he calls it the Wandering Spirit.
I don't think Miss Montgomery likes us.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
There we go.
There you go.
We can hear you.
All right, hold on. We're going to have to reposition here.
I hope so, because all we're looking at is the ceiling, Scott.
Say what?
There's Heather. There's Zach.
Hey.
There's Scott's hand.
I've seen it a lot.
Hey, y'all, what other show can you watch that has paranormal shit and scenes from Cloverfield on it?
Believe it or not, that's the only movie that I've ever gotten almost sick watching in a theater.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever watched Cloverfield? So anybody that hasn't seen Cloverfield, it's basically, I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it, but it's old, so who cares? It's a movie about a prehistoric alienistic monster that attacks New York, and it's all filmed by one guy carrying a camera.
Like a Blair Witch type thing.
Yeah, it's worse than Blair Witch. It's worse than Blair Witch because they're running through buildings that are toppling over. They're running through subways. They're running through military coming in. And the whole time the guy's carrying the camera trying to talk while he's doing it. And the camera's going like this. And yeah,
and we need to point out, Chris, that was one of the toughest handheld video cameras I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's got the world's longest extended battery on it.
That's what I was about to say. The guy must have been pulling a generator behind him because back then the batteries didn't last that long. Hell, my camera that I use for investigations don't last that long.
Apparently ours don't either.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good point because I don't know about y'all's investigation, but one important takeaway from ours was all of our cameras that we plug into, we plug extended life battery packs into. Montgomery House that night killed 7 of our 9 battery packs.
Yes.
So
I remember that.
Yep, I remember that. And guys, these are battery packs that Scott's used on multiple investigations, Trans-Allegheny, the USS North Carolina, and they lasted all night.
Yeah.
And he still had battery left at the end of the night. Montgomery House drained it.
Yep.
Sucked it dry.
Montgomery does not like us. She likes Everett, but not us.
Yeah, she did like Everett.
Yeah.
She did like Everett.
She has a thing for beards.
Mhm.
Yeah. Rugged men with beards.
Yep.
All right. So the next one we got is female voice in dining room. Who wants to explain that one?
Start it.
let's see it first. Let's watch it first. See what.
All right, here we go. Wrong one. Hang on.
Is that you under the table? Are you in here with us and just trying to hide?
I hear something. Sound of a female voice, but I'm not sure from what.
So that was audible. You guys heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't hear a thing.
Oh, you heard it with your own ears.
We couldn't hear anything, but you know.
Yeah. For some we didn't have sound on this end for some reason.
Well, let me play it again. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Is that you under the table? Are you in here with us and just trying to hide?
I hear something. Sound of a female voice, but I'm not sure from what.
I can't make it out though.
I can't make out what it's saying, but that almost sounds like Sarah.
Okay.
A little bit, but right
There,
after the words come up on the that says an audible voice, it sounds like she says, "Who are these people?"
It's possible. I mean, but we couldn't make out what
we
it said.
couldn't hear it
either.
on this end, but there was some question that it was. Hey,
Mrs.
Everett?
Montgomery, maybe?
No. That's
Oh,
a
different one.
Yeah.
Sounds like a kid in the background. Yep.
Yeah. She can really make out there's a voice there, but as far as
It
what
wasn't
it's
any of
actually
ours.
what it was saying, that feels a topic for discussion.
Yeah, and I can tell you guys that in these investigations, there's no children except for the adults that are investigating.
Which act like children. Listen.
Yeah.
That's what we got Eric for.
All right, so the next one we got is in the dining room, which is the courtroom. And this one's hay. So here we go.
Very clear again, though. Wow.
We're not getting audio. We're not getting audio on the videos on this end.
Oh, really?
Or maybe it's slow.
Is everybody else? Are you guys?
Everybody else here?
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it.
I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that I had to switch off the laptop to our iPad, or
Might be the iPad. Your iPad settings.
yeah.
Your iPad's actually clearer than your laptop. How the hell does that work?
Well,
Miss Montgomery.
It's Mrs. Montgomery.
Is hold on, camera on.
Race just bailed on us, guys. Bye, Race.
Guys of the show.
I don't know.
I mean,
All right.
Oh, sorry.
just we've heard it. So
Yeah, we've heard it. We know what they are. So
Well, for everybody watching, we do have reruns on Facebook and YouTube too. If you guys want to come back later and watch.
yeah.
All right, the next one we got is Hey Everett. So I wanna prelude this, guys. Usually when you go into the Montgomery house, Mrs. Montgomery's always there. We caught her with Staticom. We've caught her on EVPs multiple times in the house. She responds, and you can tell it's her because you get an elderly woman's voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is her or not, but in the Everett, anybody that's ever met Everett, he's a big dude. He's got a great big beard. The guy could play Santa Claus. Not saying that you're that big, Everett. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying from here up, Everett looks like Saint Nick, right? Anybody disagree?
nope.
No.
Okay, thank you. We have been into the Montgomery house multiple times, and usually Mrs. Montgomery's energy feels heavier. It feels like a thicker, like a really thick, humid energy when you walk into her parlor and she's there. The minute Everett walked in, you could just tell Mrs. Montgomery really liked Everett. And I don't know if this was her responding, but here is a Hey Everett. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And Heather and Zach disappeared. What?
Yeah.
We're here.
Smoke break.
Magic.
There's no intermission in this fucking show.
Yeah. That happens during technical glitches. That's when you get your intermission.
So we were going to try the other laptop, but it appears that it's dead as well. So
apparently Miss Montgomery.
See, Mrs. Montgomery's draining the battery still. So if you guys heard that, I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Everybody was outside of the house. This is numerous times we've caught voices inside the house when nobody's inside. Everybody's outside. You can hear people talking in the background outside.
Yeah.
Nobody's in the house.
You can
There
hear
was
that.
some question that it was actually my voice, but it was muffled more than I would speak. I mean, if I was going to ask for Everett, I'd been like, "Hey, Everett." I mean, he would have known it was me. So, I mean, it was not my tone.
Yeah, y'all, we've met Heather, and she's not muffled.
No.
Never.
But I mean, the and the most important, there was nobody in the house. Chris and Audrey, you were both outside when we were doing our pre-investigation meeting.
Always. Mm-hmm.
And this occurred probably within a minute and a half after we'd gone lights out. So
Okay.
everybody was out of the house at this point.
And it sounded like it was right beside the camera.
Yeah.
So to help explain that to everybody, guys, when we the Montgomery house is, and Ron and Tony, you guys have been there now. It sits at the base of the Uwharrie Mountains. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So Audra and I, when groups come in to investigate, we do stay on site, but we stay outside. Unless the group asks us to come in. Once in a while, I go in to check on everybody, see how everybody's doing. But for the most part, we stay outside for safety purposes because, I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere. And there's wild animals. There's all kinds of stuff. Wolves howling, bears, all kinds of stuff out in the Uwharries. But for the most part, we stay outside. The group, it's your investigation.
Right?
We don't put equipment up. We don't do anything. We just sit outside. We're there for safety purposes only and to lock up the house when they leave. So Scott was outside with his team when this was captured. There was nothing inside the house at all. And I'm telling you right now, that's not Heather.
Nope.
No, you would have known me.
Yeah. There'd be no mistaking when Heather speaks.
Nope.
So the next one is, my name is Grace, which is a new name that we've never caught at the Montgomery house before and haven't caught since, but this one's interesting. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Recorder in my hand. If you talk and to the end of this, I can hear your voice. Whatever. Review the evidence. Is somebody in here from the court?
That's cool.
That is cool. Let's play that one again. It almost sounds, I mean, guys, PPIT doesn't run any ITC or anything, but that one almost sounds
distant.
Distant. Yeah. So let's play that one again.
Recorder in my hand. If you talk and to the end of this, I can hear your voice. Whatever. Review the evidence. Is somebody in here from the court?
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good. It sounds distant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It does.
And it's what's the right term for it? The sound is more hollow compared to the vocal of the person asking the question.
Much small.
Yep.
Agreed.
Almost like it's coming through a veil.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of almost sounds childlike as well to me.
I get younger.
Yeah.
Like late teens, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, teens maybe.
Yeah,
you're right.
Well, to all us old fuckers, that's younger.
That is young.
That's childlike.
Everything's younger than us.
Yeah. All right. So the last piece we have is two separate pieces. One is just regular audio and one's enhanced. They're here and hey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here we go. Mm-hmm. That hey is Sarah.
Yeah. Does that sound familiar, guys? Ron?
Yeah.
and-
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And she wasn't there.
Yeah, Sarah wasn't there. So.
No.
No. We picked up a little girl that we think her name is Sarah that's in the house. Yeah.
Not our Sarah, but you know.
Yeah, not your Sarah.
No, not your Sarah.
A little
No.
girl, Sarah.
Little girl, Sarah. So the little blonde girl that we've heard rumors that's in the house, we actually got confirmation of her on our investigation, and that's her voice.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So here's the enhanced portion of that. Here we go. That is totally the same voice.
Yeah.
It is.
Sounds like it.
That's so awesome.
That gives you chills.
To enhance that one or not, it was. I mean, the original was pretty clear, but I thought, well, we'll just try and enhance it. Y'all must didn't need to.
No, and to be honest with you, I think I downloaded both of the original. Because Audra and I are both going, wait, that doesn't sound
I know.
enhanced.
I'm like, I don't know that sound enhanced, but
It's good.
they're very clear.
Very clear.
Can we play it again one more time?
You guys want to hear it again?
Yeah, the first one.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Audra's over here going, hey, Lourdes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because your show last week, you had one that sounded like a young girl who called out Lourdes' name. Does this sound like it's the same voice?
Absolutely.
That's what he's saying. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the exact same tonality and
That's
everything.
Sarah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Sarah.
Okay.
I'd be interested to see the spectral analysis of that to see if it matches up.
Right. That's what I was thinking too, Ron.
I knew you were. I was reading your Rathman mind.
I mean, I
knew
caught
it.
that right away too. I'm like, I think that's Sarah.
Uh-huh.
I can see it. I can see it in your face. Yeah, I would agree. That would be a great idea.
That'd be so cool.
That is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you guys have provided such phenomenal clips. Every time you guys are on, you guys have great evidence. That picture from the courtroom, those EVPs, good Lord.
No, that's
Yeah.
so
Good
easy.
stuff.
Good Lord.
So when are
Yeah.
you coming out again?
So the next time we come out, I want to focus on the backyard.
The backyard?
Yeah. Because I have dreams about that still. I can't get it out of my brain. And I mean, I wake up standing the other bedroom upstairs, and as you come up this landing and you stand and you're facing out the backyard, the room to the right, that there's the window that just stares out straight into the back. And I mean, I found myself there numerous times just staring at the backyard, and there's stuff out there that I can't explain, but I need to know. So
It should be also noted here that Heather has and Chris has helped her along, but we've recently discovered that Heather has some metaphysical capabilities.
But the backyard was very. I don't. Well, calling to me.
It is definitely an interesting location, and one that when we found it, we felt it.
We were drawn.
We were drawn to it, and it was just something that we had to do, and so we chased it. And we're glad people like PPIT, and we're glad EVPE got a chance to experience the Montgomery House, because it is a phenomenal location.
Yes. It is. It is.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, to all our viewers, if you haven't paid really close attention, we've had PPIT on a few times.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Zach on. We've had Scott on. Now we've got Eric and Heather. Error. There's my one word for the night. I had to do it. I couldn't get away with it. Fuck. Anyway. Eric and Heather have they're phenomenal people, guys. If you couldn't tell by having them on the show, they're just great people. We've spent numerous times with them doing numerous things in some sketchy places, dealing with some stuff, places that look like an elephant relieved himself on one of the windows. Eric, remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eric's like, yeah, I remember that one. Fun time, great people.
Felt like it too.
Felt like it. I don't know about you, Eric. I don't know what Scott was feeling, but I didn't get that one. Heather's like, man, I should have run that investigation.
I know.
So, guys, we've reached the. Go ahead.
I would say who from the team is going to be at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, because that's of utmost importance to us right now.
Yeah.
That's next.
We are still trying to figure out how we're going to do it. Unfortunately, earlier this year, Heather and I had 2 deaths in the family within a week of each other. And it caused us to have to use quite a bit of our vacation time to deal with that. So
Sorry to hear that.
before that all happened, we were planning on going to Gettysburg. Right now, vacation time is going to be a little tight on that one, so we might have to next year. So.
Yeah.
There's other opportunities, though.
Yes.
Well, if you
absolutely
completely understood, and unfortunately things like that with life happen, and it sucks. It really, really, really does suck. I know what you guys have been through, and prayers still go out to you guys every day for that. If you do happen to, any of you guys, Eric, Rebecca, Zach, your dad, Heather, Scott, you get a chance to get to Gettysburg. If you don't get to Gettysburg, you're going to miss some really cool stuff, because not only is it the Gettysburg Bash, and Ron and Lourdes are going to be there, Anthony Simonelli is going to be there. We're trying to con Tony and Tree to get there, but I don't think it's going to happen with their upcoming move. But Ron, Lourdes, and Chris will all be in the karaoke competition Saturday night.
Oh. Yep. I'll just call out of work.
I'll call out of work.
Well, that makes sense. You'll be sick after you get there, not before.
No, we're going to try our best. We just have to see what we got going on, but that's on our big list of. We have a big bucket list of stuff we can go to. So that's
it happens every year. If you guys can't make it this year, then we will be there next year. So we plan on going every year, because
I'm just saying we're going to be plugging along, and that was not our dogs.
You got it, Lisa.
Tony.
It was Tony's dogs. Yeah, that was one of Tony's farm.
Yeah. Little mini farms.
So the hardest part about Tony and Cherie moving to North Carolina is to figuring out how to herd all the animals in and get them over here.
Yeah.
We got this.
No,
we got this.
Hard, so.
That's right.
All right, Heather, Scott, Zach, and Eric. This is the point in the show where we call shameless plugs. So we want to know where PPIT is going to be, where people can reach you guys, where they can find your evidence on the internet. Eric, don't be afraid to go ahead and do a shameless plug for Rebecca at all. Whatever you guys want a shameless plug, this is the moment right here.
Definitely.
Who goes first?
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I wasn't ready.
I'm not either, but we're on.
Go ahead, Zach.
Well, okay. So one of the recent things that we have started is that we are now on TikTok producing some of our content to there. It'd be Piedmont _paranormal. That's where you can find us at on that. We still have our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Instagram. So, though we don't really focus a whole lot on Instagram right now because 4 social medias is, well, 3 of the 4 are already a handful. So, but as far as investigations coming up, we have been talking with a couple of people for some residential investigations. We started one. We're still actually because we actually were there the night before we were at Montgomery House. So now we're reviewing evidence for that investigation. And then, of course, we've approached all of you guys plus several others about a possible investigation at Hall in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. So we are working on that. Hopefully, everybody can show up. I'm still trying to figure out dates for that.
We're also looking into Old Paulding County Jail in
Ooh, good one.
We're trying to make contact and see if we can at least get in there and do some investigation and see if that's something that we want to sponsor as well.
That'd be nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a shameless plug, Eric?
Yes. So Rebecca reminded me that the Watch Yourself clip is also on the podcast that she did with Chris and Empowering Awareness, which is the business that she owns on the side.
Cool. And where can people find that so they can support that?
Yeah. Yeah. You can find her Empowering Awareness.
Rebecca, help him out if you're still there.
Yeah, Rebecca, help me out because I'm not good at that.
Type it in, Miss Rebecca.
Better just push him out of the way and say it. But,
Empowering Awareness on Facebook, y'all.
Yes.
There you go. It's all right, Eric.
Just look up Empowering Awareness on Facebook and you'll find my lovely wife, Rebecca.
There you go. That's the importance of the shameless plug part, is that we appreciate you showing up and doing this. You guys come on, you present quality evidence and you present quality conduct and just like a great group of people. So we want people to support you. We think they would want to support you. So that's why we want them to be able to find you when the show's done. So that's good. So people go to Empowering Awareness on Facebook.
And make sure you check out Piedmont Paranormal Investigation Team on Facebook and on YouTube, guys. That's why we're here. We're not just about showing our evidence and showing you guys what we do. We're also about bringing people that you've seen before onto our show and showing their evidence, and then people that you haven't seen before coming onto our show and showing their evidence. We are all about unity and making sure that everybody gets out there and everybody gets to see it and experience it and see what the other teams have to bring and offer, and these great, fantastic teams that we show on our show every week. We appreciate you guys coming out. I want to take a quick moment. Zach, Heather, Scott, and Eric. We've got a behavioral health nurse. We've got EMTs. We've got military veterans. Guys, take a moment to take a deep breath, moment of silence to salute these guys for what they've given to all of us as first responders, what they've given all of us to help those that need help, and what they've given our country so that we can all remain free and sleep safe at night. Thank you guys for everything that you've done for all of us. I appreciate that. I respect you guys 100% completely. Everybody knows that by our shows. And thank you guys so much for all that you've done for our community and for our country. Thank you so much for that. Guys.
Thank you for bringing us into the fold.
Thank you for being great people, and most of all, great friends and great friends of EVPE. You guys are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Guys, once again, we have had a turnout on this show that is just phenomenal. We had over almost 300 comments in the chat. We've had multiple live viewers all night long, and that doesn't even count the people that come back and watch our shows
time and
time again. They watch the recording. Bless your hearts. We love you guys. Bless your hearts for dealing with us every flipping week. I can't. We love you guys completely. We love all the guests that come on our show, especially those that we consider friends. We thank you guys so much for coming out here every week. And remember, guys, if you want to catch great evidence like PPIT does, you've got to respect the paranormal. You've got to respect those spirits, because they are people without the meat suit. You've got to get out there. You've got to do investigations. You've got to watch EVP every week, coming back next Monday with more Montgomery House evidence. But most of all, you got to stay haunted. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?